Hello there. Welcome to the Sunday stream and welcome to this channel where we're going to be talking the sail racing with a nerdy twist. So, nerdy means that we are going to be jumping into the rules and situations and discussing them in a very deep detail. And yeah, so today we are having the Congressional Cup in our agenda. So the Congressional Cup is happening again in a couple of weeks soon. It's going to be 60th Congressional Cup, so anniversary. And then for this purpose, I thought just to check some interesting situations from the post-COVID period. And maybe we'll do the pre-COVID for another Congressional Cup or as soon as we get through those situations. There we go. And so yeah, first we are as usual streaming on the Sundays to Patreon. You guys can find it over here with the Rameto Marine. And then yeah, then later on at certain points we'll be just restreaming on Instagram, Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Facebook. So, and if you want to check it later, just check YouTube or the Facebook on those channels. Yeah, there we go. So I have a tiered list of the situations that I thought were really interesting. So S is something for them. S is something that I thought was really exceptionally brilliant. There was some really interesting situations, or I think interesting tactics that were used, so which was actually very innovative. A is usually very also interesting situations, but maybe not necessarily the most kind of the great achievement sometimes by sellers. Sometimes the interesting things happen also because of other factors, and then we're going to look at that one. B's usually it's pretty much textbook scenarios of how to do the match racing. Uh, and I don't remember. C is kind of middle level, so it's a bucket, so that doesn't fit into the other buckets. And I think D is more or less like just clarifications about the well-known rules. And then E it's again another bucket. So, but anyway, we'll probably just jump in and then start checking this out and one by one. And if you have any comments about some situation that you think worth to go higher or lower, let me know. Okay, then since it's a watch party, we're going to be just looking at those races one by one. So let's start first with this race. So this is coming from the Congressional Cup 21. Let's find it. So it's a Congressional Cup 21, day 4. Right, actually, it's not in the live. I think, yeah, I remember the Congressional Cup for the 21 was in recorded and then replayed. So 21, day 4. Right. So this is an interesting actually situation by so we have a match between Johnny Burnson and Taylor Canfield, and I think there is a really interesting move that Johnny did in the pre-start, which is pretty much very interesting actually defense against the starboard boat. But let's first watch it first. I'll go back first without, and we're gonna watch. Can I make it a bit bigger? Yeah, I think this would be a little bit better. Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. So boat with the sail number 2 is a starboard boat. Buries its crispo. Boat on the left is the port boat. So the commenters say that it was definitely a collision, and that's I think we'll just hear the interpretation. So let's first hear what actually the commenting umpire says, which is who is in the studio. Um,
Whole bunch of stuff. What are we thinking here, Mark? So I think that one will be on pool. I think I just saw yellow go up in the air. Yep, I see so yellow. You get into the dial-up, and Yanni, I've seen this move from him before. If he thinks that pool over-rotates a little bit when he goes up head to wind, Yanni immediately comes down. And because he's the keep clear boat, if pool alters towards him, which he did, he has to give Yanni room to keep clear. So in it, it's he who goes first gets the advantage, and Poole was slow in coming down to block him, so he buys the penalty yellow. It's so interesting, and again, this is where the umpire is so important.
there we go. Here you had the explanation from the umpire in the studio. Let's watch what the model bottles, model boats, what has what happened there. Now, race committee, BIM. The boats are gating. Typical dial-up looks like after the boats have crossed the line, starboard boat yellow starts to hunt blue, and blue goes to the dial-up. Then they are port give and must keep clear from starboard boat. As they cross head to wind, they are tacking and also give tacking give boat, give way boat, and need to keep clear. And only they get their rights as soon as they reach the starboard close hold. Then this boat needs to, obviously yellow boat needs to avoid. What usually happens is that as the port boat tacks through this maneuver, she loses a lot of speed and starts to go significantly slower. Whereas yellow boat, starboard, going on the beam reach, usually going at the high speeds and trying to reach the blue boat before she gets to the starboard tack close hold. Um, here are the rules, by the way, for those situation, and so this is while tacking. What usually yellow needs to do is to kill speed, because if they continue this way, they will overrun, they will go fast, opening possibility for the blue to just to do a steel ball maneuvers and go behind. So yellow needs to kill speed fast. So first they need to go fast, and at a very short period of time they need to kill the speed. Sometimes sailors do it by kind of like maneuvering this just right before coming head to wind, but by maneuvering you're releasing possibly you stop pointing to the boat. So in this case, you are actually losing that valuable seconds where you can actually use for the penalty for the blue boat compared to you pointing that. So if you would be just pointing, maybe you can avoid in the last moment. But if you already start to avoid and slow down to the tactical position, then you're basically doing, you're losing possibility to give the penalty. And which is, I think, in general, it's always better to go for a control rather than a penalty. But however, in this case, it's a very low price, low cost penalty to give to blue. So why not to try? Then a lot of boats point head to wind and use the main sail just to back to slow down the boat. In this in this Congressional Cup, this Catalina boats are pretty big, so I think I'm not sure that's sort of uh, how effective this, or I mean, it would be effective, but it's a pretty big sail just to move compared to small boats where you can actually do it very, very quickly, just slow down and then release. But yeah, possible, why not? Um, but a lot of boats do what they do is that they come to they basically take an avoiding action, and at this moment, they maneuver rapidly back and forth. And at this moment, when they maneuver back, they also will become a tacking boat, which is from the point of view of the rights. It doesn't really matter if this boat is managed to um, get to the close hold. If the blue boat managed to get to the close hold, then it's okay. It's yellow would be keep clear, a boat that needs to keep clear in either way, either windward boats or tacking boats. And if this boat did not manage to cross, finish the tack until the close hold, then basically then this rule starts to apply if two boats are subject to the rule at the same time, the one on the port side or stern, in this case port side, shall keep clear. So usually we just say right is right. So in this case, it would be exactly the same as this boat would be on the starboard tack, even if she's tacking, as long as she did not, well, even if she reached the port but then started to tack again over here, then she would be still right away. And even if she reached the port, this is a still tacking boat. So in this case, yellow all the time retains the rights. What I think interesting defense maneuver, that's what Johnny did here in this boat. The moment the yellow boat crosses head to wind, she becomes giveaway boat. And at this either giveaway boat or right of way boat, it actually doesn't really matter if blue has finished the tack or not. What Johnny did, he immediately started to bear off for the steel balls maneuver. And that what allows you, but at the moment when the yellow boat turns over here, it opens the gap. They're opening the gap, which allows here to put the bow lower for Johnny. And then at this moment, this would be port boats. So at this moment, this would be port boat give way, or there are several stages actually over here, which is often good to discuss with it also. First, they will be tacking boat, and this would be tacking boat or port boat already, which completed the tack, but still they will be right away. So which means that if yellow changes, so at this moment, if blue can do these things, blue is keeping clear. Blue is can do this maneuver and avoid. So any change of the course of yellow they need to give room for the blue to keep clear, and the room for the blue is just to basically continue their still ball maneuvers, because tacking back, that would be a difficult maneuver. So they would need to, yellow needs to give room for the blue to keep clear, which means continue that way. If blue completed their tack, and this is still attacking boat, so yellow needs to keep clear, but of course blue needs to give way for the yellow to keep clear. So basically what we are just talking about here most of the time is the right of way boat changes the course, she shall give the other boat to keep clear. Yeah, so I think this is a very good maneuver. So if this is often is done that the boat on yellow will come with a little bit of good distance and will do a quick tack maneuver uh, to to avoid that, so to slow down and actually get in a really good controlling position. So if blue times it really, really well and sees that the boat starts to go into the tacking, and they think that they can actually do steel balls or really close, this is a really good opportunity when blue can be actually very well protected. However, if yellow would not cross head to wind and stay over here, then there is a huge, basically this is a starboard boat, and then this is a huge risk for the blue to do that maneuver, because also very often the bow is down, and the moment yellow will see that the blue is trying to do that maneuver, they will close that opportunity so that at this moment blue will still be able to avoid. But was really smart because of using exactly that moment when yellow crosses head to wind, opens a little bit space, put the bow, start to putting your bow down, and then yellow is doing there. So apparently, yeah, that's something that, as umpire commented, this is a maneuver that Johnny has done before, and I think in my tier list that definitely gets the S rating. I think it was very nice, smooth maneuver, but obviously requires also umpires uh, to to be on the top and actually judge the situation very correctly, which they did in this race. Excellent. Let's see what do we have there. There was have a few notes here. There is more explanation given from the umpires at. Let's listen to this once again.
Start. That was totally major league move to get that penalty on Poole. That was really quite a good move. Mark was walking us through that. That was excellent. But, yeah, maybe if we just, since we are watching this while we're thinking he's going to get enough space, why don't we talk that through again? You know, how was, I mean, Yanni just said, I'm sending it. I see what you're doing, and he went right down, you know, to go behind him. Yeah, so you go in the dial-up. Blue enters on port, yellow enters on starboard. Blue, as soon as yellow gets blue lined up, blue has to go through head to wind and tack. So blue tacks, gets to a starboard close haul course. So he now becomes the right of way boat. So Poole has to keep clear. He goes up and he goes through head to wind. So he becomes the tacking boat. Yanni, I've seen do this move before. He watches that boat, and as soon as he goes a little bit too far, he goes down. So now he becomes attacking boat. He then becomes the keep clear boat, and now he freezes Poole in that position. Poole can't come back because he's the right of way boat without giving him space. So then Yanni goes down, and basically Poole's limited on what he can do. Anyway, here we come to the finish. Yeah. Okay, so it's pretty tight. It is pretty tight. You think you're gonna be able to do this one, Dave?
Yeah, there we go. let's see also. I think there was also a surprising end over here that I want just to bring these things up, which has nothing to do with this situation, but let's see what happens here. So two boats are going on the like to finish. The boat ahead is Chris with a penalty ahead. Yoni, you can see with the um, orange gear. It's very, very clear. As you can see also on the umpire boat over here, there is a yellow flag. And yeah, what happens now is it's a little bit short distance for Chris to take the penalty. He's approaching to ready to the finish line. He cannot spin the whole circle, but he's also quite far in engaging Yanni into a play. So it's actually not a great area over here. So now boat does the jibe, hoist the sail, and they do another jibe, hoist the sail, and going a little bit higher. And now what was happened over there? Watch the umpire boat. I'll go a little bit more back. So again, and there is a whistle, and the yellow comes down from the umpire boat. So what do you think has happened? So I think I'll leave you now all the thoughts and comments. What has happened over here? Uh, what do you think? Did Chris took a penalty in here correctly? And why yellow flag came down? I think it was so everyone in the studio now also says that, yeah, okay, yeah, Chris did not to take a penalty. Yanni is finishing, and so I think that was no kind of like from this point of view, there is no surprises. Yoni should be winning, but if you notice that the yellow flag went down on the umpire boat, that's a good question. What happened there? Let's watch also Chris's interview over here.
Well, we thought we had a piece of him. We thought he didn't have it on port, but he bowed down just enough to clear us.
So he talks about this situation in the pre-start.
And yeah, from there we just focused on getting off the line well and getting to the right side, and we stretched from him. And well, the finish was we started to defend, and we heard a whistle and looked back, and the penalty was clear. So we went for the line, and the race committee put up the yellow flag.
Well, tough racing, but you got the win. Talk us through your mentality for
So I also like the smile here of Chris. Is just saying that, yeah, we just were looked back. Penalty was whistled away. Then we went for finish, and they finished. Okay. So this is a question for everyone here. If you think you know what has happened here, so let me know. Okay. Now let's jump into the next situation. We'll just go with something from the A tier. Oh, that was a good race. I think it would be worth even just to watch it all together. Um, so Congressional Cup 24 last year. Which day? Finals day. Perfect. 40. So this is a race between Ian, which will enter on port, is entering now on port, and Nick Johnson on starboard. It was a while when I was last time I watched it. I didn't sure once. Actually, I don't remember what was the interesting things. Oh, actually now, yeah, I think I made some notes over here. So if you want to rewatch it once again, if you need to, if you don't watch it stream, so you can always watch it on the Facebook or on YouTube. You can have the recordings, but otherwise just check the things there, that it will be also streamed in live on Instagram. Okay, I think it's pretty straightforward dial up. Okay, steel balls by Ian. He had the room to do this maneuver and was able to cross. Nick follows, and now they're going to the playground. Ian asks if they have a piece, which means that would they be able to spin and reach them. I think it looked very, very not possible. So EJ is coming up. Ian laughing. Ian starts to shout, don't stop turning, meaning that yellow needs to continuously keep clear. There was a contact over here. And then there is a penalty on blue boat, on Ian. Just remember that penalty, and then we'll come back to that one a bit later. So remember this situation. So yeah, Ian got the pin, I think. EJ is getting the windwards with a quite decent separation. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, coming over here, there is a lot of boats on this side, so it was just concerned that they were gonna get the gas from this boat, meaning the turbulent wind. And EJ drives away. Note that's what the score. Okay, well, actually there is a media call right now coming. I will pause now and then let's listen to the media call from the umpire.
The boats are going to the green mark, but that shows us that there might be a little more left-hand pressure on its way. See if that can do any favours to Ian Williams here on the left of screen.
Tell you what, Rosie doesn't miss much. That's what I like about her. She's on it. Here we go. It's a great umpire call.
The blue boat, but it was a mistake on the flag. We meant to penalize the yellow boat, the windward boat, for not keeping clear. So there was a mistake on the umpire boat.
So, Kirk, I have a question for you then. It happens. It's human error. So the wrong flag went up. Ian Williams has a penalty. If the umpires
So just to summarize what actually was said by the umpire, so I think on the previous Congressional Cup, I think he was even also he was chief umpire, so probably actually he was also chief umpire over here. So no, the very very good umpire, but he basically just said on the media it was a mistake, and I think this is a really interesting case that we would like just to discuss. But let's first hear what the commenters say about these things.
see that they made a mistake, can't they just recorrect it? Or?
No. The way that the system works is once we display the flag, that is the flag we've displayed. We have to live with that mistake. And umpires will feel terrible about it, but there's nothing that we can do
I'll bet
to
Williams
undo
will feel
that.
worse.
Well, Williams certainly feels worse, but there's nothing we can do to undo that. The reason behind that is so that competitors don't try to intimidate umpires to change their call. Once we make the call, that's the call. Every umpire has made that mistake.
So yeah, fair enough here. So I think it is a really good explanation about that why it is there. So because the whole reason of umpiring is just to make the decision on water right away without going to the protest committee and reopening entry hearing. So and sometimes mistakes happen. That's i- absolutely correct. The umpire who was in the studio said that each of the umpire and including me done that mistake, and it happens in many many matches that you do. Sometimes you just grab a wrong flag and it happens, and then what you cannot do, you cannot change it. So you the only thing that you can really say, I'm sorry. And I think that was very excellent example also with a media call, knowing that it will be broadcasted on the on the YouTube to thousands of users. I think it was very good example of Flavio, so just basically owing to it. And I think it's a really also good, if he was chief on that event, I think it is also a very good um, example to the whole team just saying like, okay, you know, let's be open about this thing's mistake has happened. So yeah, I think it was indeed that yellow boat did not keep clear over here, and I think what happened, they wanted to penalize yellow, and it happened to blue. I think I'll show you maybe so if we look at the rules, so that one would be in the appendix C. That's it. That's what it says. As you can see here, no proceedings of any kind can be taken in relation to any action or inaction by the umpire, except as permitted in over here. Um, the only thing, their exception is that if you believe that an official boat, including the umpire boat, have seriously interfered with competing boat. And by interfering, meaning that you might have a just collision and this stuff. And I've been also in that situation. Then I think where you do interfere. I think I don't think I had any examples where it would be seriously interfering, but sometimes you get a little bit on the way and you have to apologize to sailors if it's not very serious. But obviously, if it's a really serious, I think like umpires would even make a call and say, like, listen, we the other boat bumped into us and or we bumped into them and they actually lost like 3 boat lengths, so it's a serious interference. So then then you would even consider to give the redress, or even if you have a very good relations with a race committee, you suggest that if there would be a hearing about these things, there would be probably the redress would be upheld. So it means that they would need to be resailed, and often the race committee would actually just like to resale it right away. So abandon it or postpone it and then start again to avoid this. Yeah. In my case, actually, I think one situation that I clearly remember when I made a mistake, and in that case, it was a very also nuance that I actually corrected it, but it actually was, in my interpretation, was not corrected according to the rules, but one can do the. So basically, these are signals by the umpires. Um, the blue, a blue and yellow flag with one long signal means the boat will take a penalty, really. That's how you basically signal. You need to have a flag and a whistle. And I think in my case, what happened is that I was taking the flag and I picked up, and that was a wrong flag, and I had a taken whistle in my head, and then I realized that it's a wrong flag, but the hand kept on going. Then I put it down, picked up the right flag, correct flag, and then whistled together with the correct flag. But the sailors already looked back because they were expecting a call, and they saw another flag back, coming up without the whistle. And then because then I realized I just put it down, and then I took the flag and I whistled with the right. And I think in this kind of situation, it was just a confusion. It looked like there was a change in the penalty, but I interpret it according to this rule because the first one was not a signal because there was no whistle. It was just like that. But obviously, anyway, after the race, I went just to and apologize to the sailors because it created the confusion. I just said that, of course, in this case, even though they wanted to have a redress, but I said, well, they withdraw the red flag redress because it was I just explained that this rule that there is no proceedings can be done. So they could have had a hearing. Definitely they could have had, but they decided to withdraw because they kind of understood that action or inaction or umpiring would not be anyway. It would not be even nobody would actually even start to analyze what did I do right or wrong because it doesn't really matter. So you cannot take any actions. And but yeah, obviously apologize to the sailors. It was confusing. It was not great, but yeah, it sometimes happens. So I think, as I said, it happens to everyone, as umpire said. Okay, there was a more interesting situations in this match. So let me see what I have in my notes. So by mistake, it was leg to the finish play. So okay, let's maybe go towards towards that. And remember, you see that there is a score, which is if EJ wins, as Ian is ahead with a penalty. So as you can see, blue ahead, both ahead with a blue penalty over here. Quite close to be able just to make a turn. So it will need to engage Nick on the way. And usually very often that happens on the leg to the downwind in this kind of situation. So I believe this is actually it's already even starts over here. So as you can see already, Ian not doing fast tacks, very slow tacks, trying to burn the distance between the boats so that he'll come to the attacking, he will have a possibility to set the trap. So as you can see, Ian is not really going close to the mark, so he's killing the distance. But Nick also knows that situation. He doesn't need to go ahead. So he, as you see, he also rounds it with a really big distance. What he does, he wants to keep a good separation here. So what now, when they're going to the mark, downwind, sorry, Ian, which is ahead, blue boat, basically trying to, now they're going to finish somewhere over there. So trying to reduce the distance so that they could, now they're on the port tack, so that in one way or another, they have the overlap. Either they have overlap over here and luff up and will be able to take the penalty, or they come as a starboard on this boat. Okay, let's see what happens. So Ian is ahead. Distance is small. Nick doesn't really need to go fast and overtake, because as long as Ian finishes like that, he will not be able to spin the penalty, and then EJ will win. Okay, I think now Nick thinks that he's okay. No, they're still playing. And for EJ, he has to be either very sure that he's able to roll the boat, not to be staying in this uncomfortable potential trap situation, or just burn that distance, because the time is against Ian. They're moving closer and closer to the finish line now. Okay, now Nick thinks that he will be able to roll. There is actually quite a big separation between the boats. So Nick is hoping that he'll be able to roll. And Ian, of course, opened that distance, kind of like in one hand he puts it to the risk, but then also in the other situation, by luring a little bit Nick to take that one, he's actually avoiding that situation when they are just burning the distance to the set. Okay, now I think there was an interesting situation. So Nick understands that he is now trapped. He will not be able, and they are going to the downwind jail. So I think then once they will go to the downwind jail, yellow boat Nick here is being controlled, fully controlled. Now, what he wants to do, he is just like, okay, because there is a really big distance, let's jibe and cross behind. He starts to jibe, he becomes the port boat, and Ian immediately wants to close that opportunity for them. So they're having a dial, we're having dial up with the spinnackers. So port starboard, and this boat needs to yellow boat is port give, needs to keep clear, and this boat needs to give room for the other boat to keep clear, for this boat to keep clear as they were changing the course. And let's first watch it and then analyze from the point of view of rules what happened here. Contact. Yeah. I don't remember how it was, but anyway, somewhere here the contact. Both boats dropped the spinnaker and had the spinnaker up. Umpires, as you can see here, discussing what has happened, and they show another blue flag. Okay. So what happened here? Let's go one by one. So first of all, and I think for this one we might need to have a call book. Let me find or actually I think it was in the rapid response calls. I'll start with the so this is the new match racing call book with the corrections for this new rule book. Subwind, windward mark. Here. G2, and I think there is also yeah, actually it was now moved I think from the rapid response calls to this. So basically that would be also needed. So first of all we're gonna go to basic rules which apply here. It's a big rule book. There we go. So first, port starboard. Yellow boat is a port boat as they jibe over here and need to need to keep clear of the starboard boat. They put themselves into that situation. So Rule 15 doesn't really apply on the starboard boat because blue boat doesn't need to give room for this boat initially to keep clear because yellow boat acquires the right oh um, because actually this acquires the right. I don't know if they were overlapped but let's say that if they were not overlapped, then this becomes a right of way, but because of the actions of yellow, so no initial room to keep clear. So it was all actions of yellow to put themselves on port. Now blue starts to luff up, so they are right of way boat. What they do is they are limited. She shall give the other boat room to keep clear. So it needs to room to keep clear, which is yellow is avoiding. And I think what we will be also discussing as umpires over here, what are the way out for the blue. So the way out of this situation now when they jibe, what is the way out of this boat? Because as you can already see it a little bit over here, the way out is to tack, because at this moment blue boat is still pointing lower than the boat, so this is not the correct way to go out, because blue is shutting down this door. So this is the correct way out to go into the tack. So blue is continuing now, creating a collision course. Um, and now pay attention that the blue spinnaker is flapping, and that's where we come to the casebook, which talks about it. So first, we will forget about this situation if two boats are luffing each other. Yellow, in this casebook over here, yellow required to keep clear, and blue needs to respond to give blue needs to give room for the yellow to keep alive. So blue continues alive, but in order to keep clear, yellow needs to go higher until than the point where her spinnaker is filled and drawing. So basically, spinnaker is flapping. Then blue must give room for yellow to drop the spinnaker. And if yellow doesn't drop the spinnaker at the time, then she still needs to avoid it. But if she doesn't drop it, blue already gave room. So what usually happens is that when there is a luff on the downwind with the spinnaker, as soon as the yellow spinnaker starts to flap, blue needs to open up the space for them, give a certain moment of time for yellow to drop the spinnaker, and then they can continue luffing. Or at least they don't need to open up space, but at least they should stop laughing. So it usually is that they keep on laughing, spinnaker starts to flap on yellow, slow down, stop turning, stop laughing. If they don't take the spinnaker, continue laughing. Or even if they take the spinnaker, let them drop the spinnaker and continue laughing. And then there is a question. Is the same reasoning applies if both are on the opposite tack? Answer is yes. So over here, when this boat laughing up, as soon as the spinnaker starts to flap, as you can see here on the picture for yellow boat, blue boat needs to give room for this boat to to drop the spinnaker. And since there is a contact between the boat, uh, one can so basically umpires most likely decided that blue did not give the room for the other boat to drop the spinnaker, and as you see that they actually in this case are dropping. Okay, now there is also an interesting aspect over here, is taking the penalty on the downwind. It means crossing head to wind and going to the 90 degrees. And that at this moment, when you cross head to wind, the spinnaker or spinnaker head needs to be below the gooseneck. So let's okay. Um, hold on a second. No. Yes, that's the thing. C7.3a. A boat taking penalty that includes attack. So for blue boat now it includes the attack. Shall have the spinnaker head below the main boom gooseneck from the time she passes head to wind. So at this moment it needs to be below, and then until close hold it needs to be below, and then it can come up again. So, and at this moment the umpires will signal with repetitive short sounds if the gooseneck would be up. So repetitive short sound, boat is no longer taking a penalty and the penalty remains. So at this moment, of course, I cannot hear what the umpires were doing, but basically, I think if they decide that at this moment, not at this moment, so it looks like, so we don't have the view right now, but let's say if this would be the moment when they're crossing head to wind, I don't know, maybe just a little, this is not yet head to wind. I think they need to turn a little bit more, but this is where the goose this is where the gooseneck, this is where the spinnaker head. And yeah, if it never came down, so this umpires should have, it is pretty high now, so they should have, I think maybe about now they're already on the new tack, because yeah, it was already a while ago on the new tack if you look at the main. So yeah, difficult to say. We don't have the view. But basically, I think what looks like that the umpires here just called that there is no, that the penalty was not taken because probably the spinnaker was above, and now they already again hoist the spinnaker. Actually, you already can start hoisting the spinnaker at the close hold. Umpires are deciding, discussing, and I believe that they were um, giving the penalty according to this call book from here. Okay, so now they're going over here. Williams is with the penalty, and he has a second penalty. He's now at quite a risk and to get the black flag if he doesn't do anything fast. But what we also see is that we also watch if the boat's starting to do something, and we, for example, don't require the boat to start spinning the penalty like that. First, you need to drop the spinnaker, so we allow. But if the crew is clearly not doing anything and um, it's clearly not doing anything, then there might be a reason for delaying taking a penalty and getting one more penalty. That in this case it would be already third penalty, which would be a black flag. And sometimes the boats already in the situation realize that, well, we have already the third flag, so no reason to spin. Let's get the black flag and etc. But there has been also some situations that, for example, that this boat still can make a mistake and for some reason not finish or something like that, and you'll be surprised, but there's a lot of things happen. So just spin your penalty, do these things, and go there. You never know. Like if you do 300 races, one of them will be exactly the case. Now, this is an interesting also communication when umpires over here sort of delivering the news, and I think this is absolutely professional communications on the both sides. I would like you just also to hear both party clearly disappointed about the mistake that would be made in the very beginning, as we discussed, but also umpires are not really happy about this mistake. And Ian, of course, after also that intense situation over here and getting the second flag, uh, would be quite disappointed, but super professional communication. So I think that's how it's important also just to manage the emotions and everything on the race. So, and Ian is a very top sailor also in that one. I want you to hear that one.
Listen. Your mistake. Oh, he's just learned it. Oh, wait, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. And you can't correct it. Oh, here's where it gets ugly. The umpire admitting he made a mistake, and Williams is just floored. Okay. Oh, he's going to need a moment to process this one. Copy that. Copy that. Good response. Oh, is he mad? That is the only response he can give in that moment. Wow. Quick credit to him.
Yeah, so I think Flavio exactly explained something. It was difficult to hear, but exactly that. I think something talking about the head. I think about the gesticulation. I kind of thought that he was talking about the head was higher. Then he also talked about that this boat, you need to give room for them to drop the spinnaker when it starts to flapping, so that they can actually do the tack. And yeah, then they talk about the mistake. Exactly. So everything what we actually discussed right now, it's was delivered by Flavio there, like very kind of like professional way, information, like apologizing these things, saying cannot do anything about it. And obviously in this situation, if you consider that this puts Ian on the match point, so it's 2-2, and the last one to get the third point will win the Congressional Cup. I believe it's the final, right? I think obviously the emotions are very high over here, but I think in a very professional way, he's like, okay, copy that. I received that information. Thank you. We'll, sort of copy that. He might disagree. He might be angry about this situation, but there is absolutely no reason for it doesn't take the team anywhere just to take into that discussion. Nothing will change about these things. So he's okay, copy that. Let's move on. And so I think that was a good example of the professional communication over here. I think it might be also worth watching the interview with Ian, uh, how basically he's going from this type of situation, which is definitely, and have an emotional reset, which is also very important for match racers, just to be exactly as the commentator is now talking about, just take all the negativity, all these things, and do the reset, as if it's just your first match of regatta. So I think that requires also a very good control. So yeah, let's listen.
Yeah, well, we just had a quick chat with the umpires. They apologised for the first one. They picked up the wrong flag. It happens. It's I think the real shame is the rules don't allow him to then change it back, but that's the way they're written. He's made a mistake. Good for him. Good on him for owning up to that at this point. Obviously, after that, we were on the back foot and we had a lot to do. And yeah, I had spinnaker in my face, so I didn't really know about the second penalty. We were just doing what we can to try and make something happen. It didn't work out, but I think we're sailing well. We're sailing fast. I think we've got a good chance to win the next race. There you
go. Okay, so basically says that okay, this would happen, but we're sailing well, we're sailing fast, so we can win the next race. So absolutely, I think there is a reason why this team and this guy has how many of it's already 8 world championships and match race world championships, and I don't know how many times he also won the Congressional Cup. Yeah, very, it's just also important, like, to know how to do that emotional reset and the stuff. So, okay, these things happened, move on. That's already in the past. And yeah, fantastic. I think that was a really awesome race with a lot of interesting things. Okay, so before we jump into the other races, yeah, feel free to actually, if you want to just check all those materials quite early. So here is the QR code where you can just follow it like very early on the Patreon. And then if you would like just to then watch it later, then yeah, then just check the Instagram or watch the recordings on the Facebook or YouTube. There we go. Let's jump into the next one. Just give me 1 second to do the reset over here. Okay, moving on. Let's see what we have in the B category. Textbook overtake. So B category was textbook overtake. Congressional Cup, what day it is? 2024. I'm not sure what day is that. Day 5. It says day 5 quarters. Okay, so I think this is the correct one. So this is Ian Williams and Cole Tapper. So this is in the B tier textbook stuff. So just textbook stuff executed really well. Let's see how it plays out. I don't think anybody has the penalties in this match. Ian is probably blue. I think probably Cole is yellow. Yeah. Cole is gonna attack here, and Williams gonna come back at him. So very short distance. Rocco Attili is in the studio helping to comment. Very close, Ian. Very comment. Very very well rounded. What is important over here, as they round, Ian goes lower on the, yeah, as they also commenters say, it's a textbook. So he goes on the lower lane. So as you see that now Ian can either prevent this boat from jibing to starboard or potentially then be in the better position to roll them on this side. So textbook. As the commenter said, it's inevitable. There will be a fist fight in a second. think Ian is just keeping also the speed. Maybe trying to affect the spinnaker, but I think he needs to be a little bit more higher to affect the spinnaker, but maybe trying to give a little bit of a turbulence. And actually positioning it as Rocco it says over here, trying to have a be able to cover clean air. Sima jibe. As soon as Cole initiates the jibe, Ian responds and tries to be on the wind. As you see, the spinnaker of Cole starts to collapse. Still, Ian is keeping clear, and he's basically just rolling over. However, this is only part of the game. You're not, as the commenters say, it's not over yet. You should be able to also jibe and cross the finish. So Ian got himself is ahead, which is already good. So he's not affected, but he is in the risk if he would jibe to port here. So the only thing to escape that downwind jail that we actually talked in the other videos is to sail faster and lower. And that's what Ian is really doing. As that you can see, he is just positioning himself lower and lower and lower. Tapper is just trying maybe just to go a little bit higher to get some speed, but obviously I think the speed of Ian is better. Now they're passing this is the gate to a downwind gate, which is not as they're approaching now to finish. Yeah, now he jibes just to do something, but Ian does the jibe, and then right to finish a little bit dives to put the hull bow to cross earlier by mere meters, but he wins. Very good. So that's exactly an example of why if you are at the mark, just like within the half boat length of another boat, you have a really great possibility to overtake the other boat, but basically you need to do everything what was done over here. Textbook scenario. I think Ian was blue. Go on the lower lane, try to prevent them from jibe. If you cannot prevent them from jibe, position so that you will be spot on their wind when they jibe. When they initiate the jibe, Sima jibe, cover the wind of this boat and avoid if there would be any luff, and be able to roll in the leading position and then go lower and faster so that you, if necessary, you will be able to soak to the zone of the mark or even potentially jibe. Textbook scenario. Yeah, very well done. Okay. Yeah, if you're also interested now in the situations like that and analysis, yeah, you can also just on the Patreon send some situations where we have this bring your own situation tier so we can discuss your situation and what could be done differently. Now, Congressional Cup. This is a C tier, so let's see what is in here. Last flight and round robin in 2022. This one. Okay, let's see what happens now here. Emil Kair. That was really nice when the Emil was over there just waving to umpires. No, 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 everything is okay. No contact or anything. So yeah. Anyway, the umpires they read it. Actually, in these days, there was one guy. I don't know from which team. They often in Congressional Cup they get somebody from the teams that are not sailing, for example, on that day or already dropped out of the qualification, for example, in round robin. And this guy, if you know who is this guy who is commenting over here, with together with Tucker Thompson, he's just let me know. I think it's in Congressional Cup in 2022. Really good. I mean, very good commenter. I think I really enjoyed. I think he's just absolutely knows the game, knows how to talk about the game, and knows how to explain it very simply and do it in a very entertaining way. So let me know if you know from which team he's coming. As you can see nowadays in Congressional Cup, there is those little buoys next to the pier, which is actually defines the area. But in previous years, basically the boats were coming really close to the mark. I wonder if that was introduced already post-COVID and maybe pre-COVID. You were able just to come close, and very often there is boats were actually just taking some pieces of pier away. Um, but yeah, I think that's still, if you consider it's very, very close, very, you know, one of the best places probably just to see the pre-starts, this one, and perhaps in from the cliffs in Marstrand. That's often the area where you get the very close view and from the high advantage point to what is happening in the pre-start. So this one is, I think we are having it from the C category, this match. Let's see what's happening over here. I think there is more interesting. So now this is already, as this one starts, you can see that there is the blue pennant with the white circle in the middle, which means that this is already the warning signal for the match two. And match two is probably has just a few seconds before now gating and starting the game. So at 4 minutes, the boat has to be as close as possible to these lines. 4 minutes, as you can see now on them. Yeah, as you can see, also using a little bit of the push the boom now, the windward boat just to slow down. As you start to roll forward, you don't want to open up that space for this boat to. So they did not manage. They didn't manage, so they were to keep themselves at this position. So they, even though that they tried to slow down a little bit with the boom pushing forward. So yeah, they released the the grab, but they will try to attack once again by jibing to starboard and attacking, and they managed to attack. And the position now is over here, which is not bad, but I think maybe, yeah, in the first dial up, yep, it was just a little bit too far. That's why I tried to slow down the boat with main main boom. Attacking boat, yellow, and then they and blue boat pot is following. It tries again to get into the attack and still managing to keep. But that's what I also, this is have an example when blue is so slow in this, and it's very easy for the yellow boat just to roll over. So the yellow boat needs to slow down using the sails or maneuvering of the boat. As you can see here, using the jib to be able to turn the boat, but both boats 40 seconds before the start. Jeppe is just controlling the blue boat over here. 30 seconds before the start, but they are now going above the starting line, so basically yellow boat over here will decide when to go and when to start. Okay, as we're waiting for the other matches, if you want to watch it later, just again remind, check it out, the recordings over here. Yeah, this is, yeah, as this commenter said, this is a port tag dial-up, so that actually, instead of staying on the port, then they often just can stay here on the port. Yeah, that's what they basically said, that the tailor is just keeping these things port 1 to dial up just to be able to accelerate. But yeah, there are different tactics. Why not? More rarely used, and I think Taylor is really creative uh, in terms of them. He knows these boats and are really creative at actually. He has a very creative match race sailing, so I think a lot of interesting situations. So yeah, not surprised that he's maybe using here the port tag dial up. So this is from C. Maybe today we'll still have opportunity actually just to go through D and E, and then we'll continue with the other ones, other situations later. All that broadcasts and lives are on YouTube, so it's a really great wealth of situations and over there. So feel free just to watch it all. There are hours and hours of footage, but of course, obviously, just you can follow it here because where I select the most interesting ones. I don't know. It looks like on the prices boat there was there as a tactician Leo Takahashi. I'm kind of look like that. Always very difficult sometimes to recognize all the people in the gear and the glasses, but it looked like it was Leo who is right now flight controller for the New Zealand Black Foils in SailGP. I think so, and at least he definitely was on some congressional cups before, but I wonder if it's him or not in Harry Price's boat. Yeah, was was there contact? I think they're just really saying a blue flag. Right. And I think so. A note here I have here is about the right windward boat not keeping clear. That was what the umpires made right now on the video call. Let's check this thing out once again. Gonna go back. Boats approaching to start. About 35 seconds to go. Harry is here. Taylor is here. There is a luff. Is luff. laughing. They're both head to wind. At this moment, Taylor just continues here. He knows that he's in this triangle, so he probably will be able just to start also on the port, but in a very, very thin, tight ley line. So he tacks on port. Okay, that was green. Then I think they are okay. They're both right now. Uh, so umpires probably called them that, even though it seems to be that they're just really on their. It's just from this angle. I'm not even 100% sure that they completed their attacks. But in this case, it would be this boat would be right away if they're both attacking. But it really, as based on what the umpires actually called, they probably said that they all completed their attack. So this is leeward, this is windward boat, and as you can see also on the windward boat, they dropped uh, the the jib just to be able not to be kind of like pushed the bow down and be able just to keep the speed the downwind, because also if you have a flapping jib, it basically might slow you down as well as actually create the push your bow down. So they drop the jib. So now Canfield is Taylor is luffing. I think from here doesn't look like they're crossing head to wind. So they're luffing. Yeah, I think now looking at the sails, they were already on the tack. They were not tacking boats before. Now they're luffing. Um, and I think at this moment, they probably as umpires, and again, it's difficult to see from this angle correctly, but umpires probably called that they haven't tagged, but to me, it just really looked like they start to tag. I think now they are like head to wind, and they put this blue. Anyway, the umpire's call was that this boat was windward. This boat was windward and did not keep clear when there was a luff from Taylor. So having said that one, always the angle's different. So from the drone footage, you might get a different point of view, but it's, I think, what is maybe also interesting over here. Do you think that one can consider the red flag on the blue boat? Red flag means that they got the advantage. Or actually, let's look at the rules. What exactly when the umpires give the red flag? A red flag penalty shall be used when the boat has gained a controlling position as a result of breaking the rule, but umpires are not certain that the conditions for additional umpire-initiated penalty has been fulfilled. So very often you give, if you think that they did it deliberately, that they did not keep clear just to be able to have a start, you would give a second penalty to the, for example, blue boat. But in this case, if you don't think that they did it deliberately um, or gain an advantage after allowing for the penalty, then you would consider giving the red flag if they gain the controlling position. So at this moment, who is this is something that I maybe will leave right now also for the discussion, and leave if you want in the comment who is in control right now. And if this boat breaks the rules like that and then has a better start, would you be considering the red flag penalty over here? Because as you can see now over here is how did they start? So that would be now Price. He started, and the Canfield goes over here. So one boat length maybe, or 1.5 boat length advantage. We can even see the next, we cannot see the next cross because we are going there. But anyway, just gonna leave the comment over here. Would you be considering that the red flag penalty is here justified or not, and why? Okay, the commenters say here 57 years. That was in 2020, so 60 years this year. So looking forward for really good games. There is a really nice lineup. The lineup for this year. That's a lineup for this year. Chris, Johnny, Eric, Rocco, Ian, Cole, Dave, Bjorn Hansen, and two places from the Vickers Cup. And that's the Vickers Cup Orléans. Max. Okay. Max is actually participating. I thought he was sailing for Eric. But it's good. Pearson, Zach, Peter, Nicole. Nice. Ryan. Oh, in one more place, I think it's available. So looking forward for this year. So we are now in the C tier of the situations. I think here I also mark here that the EJ protests and gets the penalty. I don't know at which moment over here, but that's something that I wanted just to mention is that it, if you break the rules and protest, and the other boat, for example, doesn't protest, you might you might get the penalty against you. So basically, as when you raise the Yankee flag, you you basically ask the umpires who broke the rules, and umpires say, actually, it was you who broke the rules. So what we have here, EJ. Oh, okay, no, sorry. They are over here. So he was just, as the commenter said, that they were probably thought that Ian was on the, sorry. So they thought that he was just tacking, but maybe they were, the umpires just saw it different from this angle. Was difficult to say, but that was an interesting example of that even Nick really thought he got it, protested, and got the penalty against him. That happens also. So make sure that sometimes you see that the sailors, for example, if they don't know who the penalty will might go against, they actually don't protest. And at this situation, unless there is any umpire-initiated penalties that are described over here, we we're not gonna, as umpires, uh, put any penalties unless there is a umpire-initiated penalty. Okay, the last one here I have Chris versus Johnny. Fake jibe? I made a note over here. Let's see what kind of fake jibe is gonna do. Could it be at the... I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. Blue escaped. Chris escaped and Johnny is following. It's a yellow boat. Yeah, I don't think it is here. Maybe it was some fake jibe a little bit later. Okay, yeah, it was yellow here on the Johnny, but I think Police probably was also a little bit like more just asking the umpires, maybe expecting expecting a red flag. So let me know if you think that's also worth. Not sure what I made here the note about the fake tack, but well, fake jibe. So we're gonna skip that one. So maybe that was not that important. Now D. So that is 18.3 and the black flag, Johnny 22. So as you can see here already, the one boat has the blue flag, Ian. Oh no, Johnny. Johnny has a blue boat, has the just going like that. Okay, there is actually they hooked. They hooked. So just kept clear. Now he needs to tack. The blue boat needs to tack. Yoni. Don't know where the mark is, but now they have a split, but not very big one. So open cover here. So Yoni is over here, Ian here, and Yoni has the penalty if we look at the umpire boat. So obviously on the next cross, Yoni will be starboard, and the yellow boat needs to tack. I believe probably they are going now to that yellow mark, which is you can see ahead. Let's watch now. And there is a second blue flag now coming over here. And there is a penalty on Burnson. They're attacking, and there is a black flag over here. Yeah, the commenters say that they want to have a black flag, but before we jump into the black flag, uh, let's uh, let's um, let's look where actually this penalty came from. Okay, here it is. So now they are in the zone. There's two boats here in the zone, and these are a set of rules which are for the special for the match race for how this they need to play in the zone. So as you can see over here, first when they enter the zone, yeah, Yoni goes just a little bit lower, probably just to prevent to attack Ian over here. And what is important over here, so this is astern, give way, and this is right of way currently. And now when the boats are on this kind of collision course, at this moment Ian crosses head to wind. And at this moment what this rule starts to work, because they are, if you consider them in the zone, as they were, and very often the umpires will actually call it, or at least Yoni is in the zone. They call it with the last point of certainty. If they don't sure, if not sure that they exited the zone, they will call that the Yoni is in the zone. And now Yoni, blue boat, is inside overlap, because in the match race you can be overlap also when you are on the in the zone in the upwind, so not you don't need to be on the different tacks. In match race you can be overlapped when you're in the zone. According to the definition, if you check it, they are right of way, because this boat is give way tacking. They need to change tack at the mark to sail proper course. I think it would be here. So they need to change mark to sail her proper course already right now. So until she sails, change the tack, she shall sail no farther from the mark than needed to sail that proper course. So by continuing going this way further, she say umpire might judge that they are sailing further than proper course. Yoni's point of view would be that, okay, I'm not now sailing this proper course. I'm tacking immediately back in here. And at this moment, this rule stops working and they can stay here as much as they want. But the point of view is in here. And I think that's probably where this call from the umpires came, was about this 18.3. And of course, umpires have a certain point of view, sailors have their own point of view, drone has a completely different point of view, but I think that's where the call is coming from. I think it's good to remember about this rule that limits the actions of the, or what the boat can do, starboard boat can do in the zone in match racing. Okay. And then the question is, I think, with the black flag was that Joni was maybe not taking the penalty as soon as possible. So first, what is important over here, that Joni needs to get out of the zone. So I think he is getting out of the zone now. He's not hoisting the spinnaker, so I think he's just prepared, and now he starts to be going, taking penalty, crossing head to wind and going down. But at this moment, umpires were already picking up the black flag. So the question is that, my question to you, do you think the umpires call it too early? Or was Joni Bernson is delaying it, and he should have taken it earlier? So there is always different points of view, and I think, of course, over here there would be a disagreement. But as a sailor, just take the penalty as soon as possible. You can also indicate to umpires that yes, I'm getting out of the zone and taking. There is also actually a call now from the umpires, like media call. Let's listen actually what's said there.
Port boat Williams to alter his course. So that was a Rule 18.3 that gave him the second penalty. The third penalty, here we go.
For taking mark room when he was not entitled, and then we had a third blue penalty for not taking the penalty as soon as reasonably possible. That flag has been blacked.
So yeah, for the black flag, they exactly said that it's not as soon as possible, but actually it's really, considering what they now said, I've heard just only part of the media call is that they called that not giving the mark room at the mark, so probably actually the umpire saw it in this way, that they. Yeah, it's difficult. So it's possibly that the way how they might have called, and again, it's very difficult just to see from here. But the only way then for this, if they called that Ian entered the zone earlier, then that so that while they were entering like that, he was ahead of the blue boat and entered the zone earlier, and then this boat is not then giving mark room. But just to me, it looked like very much 18.3, or maybe it was actually that they gave 18 for 18.3, but basically. Kind of that was a very short explanation, just to simplify, because as you see, this 18.3 is quite a mouthful. Inside, overlap, right of way, must change tack. There's 4 conditions that needs to be there. and then fifth, sailing farther than the proper course. So it is a pretty complicated rule to explain on the media call. All right, now wrapping this thing up, let's get to our D tier. What is in our, no, actually, this is not D, F, E tier. What is this? Flight is okayish. Jeppe, Chris. So made a mark here that Jeppe versus Chris, Ian versus Taylor. So let's see, don't remember much about it. My notes here, luffing to the downwind jail, escapes, overlap with Spinnaker in the zone, upwind games. Okay, might be interesting to watch, so we'll just go a little bit over than 2 hours. I'll just speed up this one a little bit. Yeah, it was interesting fact that they now just gave on the commentary that Dave was not really like a long lifetime sailor and joined Long Beach club to start learning, and I think this is also example of how many, for example, at our club at NJK and at HSS and Helsinki joined centers and basically got their career in the not a career but kind of like became a very strong match racers and basically also started as the adults. And I think this concept of having a number of equal boats in one club, which allows to do a lot of umpired fleet race and match races, I think is excellent excellent concept. I'll skip a little bit forward, so in the sake of time, so I think we can. Okay, yeah, Ben, Chris, I think I have that one in my list, so it must be something. So yeah, there's a right hand shift right now on the course. So obviously now the tacticians should be going on that one, feeding into what kind of like game they want to take. Okay, so then basically it's just I think this is also probably a little bit of Jeppe is just new to these boats. Is that I think probably for him he's on the close hold, but maybe for the umpires it's not on the close hold. I think he already got like a couple of penalties for not finishing his tack over here. So I think Chris Bull maybe is a little bit more familiar with this boat and just knows how to basically sell that penalty to the umpires. So this one was green because, of course, this boat is changing course and needs to give room for the blue boat to keep clear. Keep on, keep on holding the blue boat very well. And I think they're probably above the starting line now. 1 minute. Chris is fully in the controlling position over here. Chris pull. Okay, now they start to fall both on the port tack. Oh, almost got the actually piece of the protesting the umpires. The umpire both got a little bit in the mix over here. Okay, they actually called it against uh, that yellow boat did not keep clear. So actually both penalties cancelled each other. So blue and yellow cancel each other. Nobody has a penalty now. Couple of after the start, couple of dummy tacks. So I think this is so the first penalty exactly like now. The Yeah, so it did the media call and then said that yeah, this was Rule 13 that they broke, which is 13. Rule 13, tagging boat, so which means that the Jeppe did not complete the attack, and yellow boat had to take an avoiding action. They got the blue flag, and then when they were coming back to finish this boat, yellow boat was not keeping clear when the overlap was established, and blue gave initially room for the yellow to keep clear, or maybe it was that yellow was coming down. We did not see it from that angle. So yeah, then umpire made the media call and said, yeah, gotta go, because they had actually pretty tight upwind games, and usually attacking duel starts, you would do it on the last upwind, and then you on the first upwind you want just to sail fast and into the clean air. But basically I think those now the attacking duels got into that they wanted to the trailing boat. I don't remember who was that. They wanted to get out of sync, out of phase, and not controlled, so that they actually have a breathing space and not affected by the leading boat. So that's why it was quite intense pre-start game. So yeah, it makes sense. So obviously, if you are affected, you're in the bad wind. So definitely, as a trailing boat, you should want to get a way out of this situation. What do we have here? have also here notes about Ian and Taylor. I think they're sailing here with 5 boats. So which is, I think they have 11 boats if I'm not mistaken. So there is 5 matches in one flight. So yep, and Chris here, I think this one is again the situation when the okay, yeah, I think that was they were going almost like pushing them into the downwind jail. So downwind jail if when this boat is when the boat ahead is not able just to jibe and go to the mark, but they want to soak to the zone. And I think in here, what they do is they successfully manage to soak into the zone. And I think for the overlap, this is also important that Spinnaker is also works for the overlap. So it's not even so overlap might have started even earlier before, but I think now you could even see with the overlap with the hulls. But I think this boat is bearing away because I think they already think that they're in 2 boat length over here. Yeah, I think they were maybe at that time, not sure if they were in the zone, but at least now they are already 2 boat length. Now they are in the zone. Okay, so actually Crisp so the umpires indeed call that they were not yet in the zone, and the overlap has established already. As you need to see that the overlap establishes a little bit earlier. If the spinnaker is in the correct position on the trailing boat, meaning that it's fully hoisted up, it's and the sheets are not released, so then it's in a proper position, and so yeah. So, for example, in here, there could be already no, like even though that the hulls are maybe even not yet overlapping, although that in this, the overlap with the spinnaker has been already for quite a while, and Chris should have started to keep clear already earlier. And now he just comes down, and basically this boat is keeping clear. Yeah, so I think this is clearly on Pool, and that would be okay for Pool if they would be in the zone, but he was not in the zone. Okay, yeah, that's what also they talk about the cinema, but again about I'm not sure about what was there about the mark room because I think maybe it was also called for another match. No, I think that makes it okay. So here we have the Taylor and Ian. Let's see if there's was something interesting here because I marked it here. Once you watch the game, all the plays in 1.5 or even 2 speed, I think then the normal speed becomes actually pretty straightforward, very easy. So yeah, if you want to have a fast decision making, so it's just try to watch everything in the 2 speed and then make the calls and decisions. So then the basic speed would be easy. 2 minutes to go in the start. I'm watching it on the fast way just to find the interesting situations here that I have here. The upwind in playing in the upwind. Probably it was on them. So they start quite tight, indeed quite close to windward, Canfield. So it's would be interesting if Taylor can live in here. But so far it seems to be because his bow is a little bit more forward, he's able to do it. So Ian is luffing, which is so that one is as this boat is able just to live here. So they just decisively to luff to be able to go down. So ooh, nice. Okay, let's go through all those situations in the at the little bit normal speed. I'm going back. So Taylor is blue here, able to live, is able to live in this wind, and because expanding, so Ian is now luffing, but not crossing head to wind, luff, so that Canfield needs to respond immediately, and then actually just to keep the speed tax away. Now there is a separation over here. Okay, I think Taylor wants to go in to this way. I think they like left. They go over here, but Ian starts to defend. So going for already a little bit lower for going to be able to duck, and because now they tack so close, there is an overlap. And of course, there's a risk on the blue boat because they are just tacking into the windward position. So, however, if they're just pointing higher, they're able, just barely able to roll over. Green flag in here. Just remember also in this situation, so it is always clear, like when you are protecting the right side and jibing or tacking over here, if you tack into here into a slam dunk situation, that you need to keep clear. So, and I think it's very often as this boat is coming faster and you're attacking this to slow down, this boat will accelerate, and they might even point a little bit higher on you as you are turning down and you're going lower, you're not responding by completing the tack. There might be a huge risk. So be careful always, like when jibing, attacking into the windward position. But also, even if you're not if you're attacking ahead, I think it is important just to gauge, would you be able to, where can you tack so that you are able to actually be still controlling the side and not being hooked. And I think Ian in here went already immediately lower for that position, which means that if Taylor would like to lebow them because they are going lower, they can actually try to get over here in this leading position. And if Ian will delay the tack, what he did, they have a piece of them to catch over there. So this is already was a very good when Ian really thought that he made the tack, he already thought that they're gonna have a really good piece of Taylor over here. But if this, and that's why they point already lower. But in this situation, if you point just as normal, most of the boats will do points over here. Sometimes if you think that you will tack here to protect in the bad position, try maybe to leap bow, but it's very important when you leap bow that you still also don't get into that situation, because that's the way you are controlled. So yeah, or another way, of course, if you see these things, you can try to dial down, but then you need to do it early and decisively to make sure that's stack. All right, I think we are pretty much now coming to the end of it. It was a little bit longer than usual, but we went now through all of those. I think we went only through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many? 6 situations in there. So, all right. So ConCup is happening soon, so maybe we'll just watch what is happening in the ConCup this year in 25, and then I think later in the upcoming months, sometimes, or maybe in the after the season ends, we're going to be watching all of those interesting situations from that tiered analysis. Okay. I think that's it for this time. If you want to watch to rewatch everything, just check recordings here or here in YouTube, or if you want to just watch it like as I stream it right away, I think that's the place where to get them. Okay, I think that's it for today. Take care.